Hello, and welcome to a special half-hour See You Today. I'm Norm Strassner. In addition to our regular format of live, filmed, and videotaped segments, we'll be seeing some past programs that we thought would be fun to take a brief, nostalgic look at, and we will be talking to three people who stay behind the scenes, sometimes literally holding up the scenery, but fully responsible for the beginnings of See You Today 200 shows ago. So stay with us for a half hour of past, present, and a bit of the future on See You Today. It's Friday, October 10th, 1975, our 200th See You Today. It's a half-hour special today. Lots of surprises, lots of fun. On See You Today, See You Today's greatest hits, our football pregame show, a film feature on the history of rugby, Program Council special report, CBS Midday News, and now local news with Tom Jacks.
Good day. The University of Colorado learned that they must cut another $1 to $2 million from the 75-76 budget. The cut was ordered by the state legislature, which is in the process of carving $25 million from the general fund for the entire state. The UCSU Executive Council failed to make quorum at a special meeting Thursday night. Only 9 members attended and 10 are needed for quorum. And in order to celebrate See You Today's 200th birthday, ex-Beatle John Lennon and his wife Yoko became the parents of a baby boy. John's lawyer announced, "It's an all-American boy." The baby Beatle was born on John's 35th birthday. A coffee vendor has filed a $5 million lawsuit against a judge, contending the jurist hated his coffee so much he had the vendor taken into custody. The federal court said the judge advised the man he would forget the matter if he promised to make better coffee in the future. In the world of sports, they call him Mallory the Meek. The controversial Buff skipper takes Colorado hopes to Orange Bowl country in Miami, Florida. Colorado is ruled an 8-point favorite, but CU's spirit is down following a heartbreaking Oklahoma loss. The Buffs will have problems in footing at the Orange Bowl because the Miami turf is one of the worst in the country. Quarterback Kerry Baker keys the Miami offense, is a dangerous runner and a strong-arm passer. The Hurricane defense limited Oklahoma to 176 yards, stopped Nebraska for nearly 3 quarters. The Golden Buffaloes will unveil a lightning offense with Billy Waddy at tailback and 9'3" speedster Melvin Johnson at halfback. It's worth noting that CU's defense has not allowed a score in the fourth quarter in 2 ball games. My prediction, a big Colorado win, no matter what Bill Mallory has to say about it. The 2 clubs will meet tonight at 6:30 in Miami. That's the news for a Thank God It's Friday. I'm Tom Jacks. Stay tuned for Douglas Edwards and the Midday News. Have a good day.
This is the CBS Midday News with Douglas Edwards.
Good day from the CBS newsroom in New York. Israel today signed the final document of the interim peace agreement with Egypt. That signing just 7 hours after the United States Senate gave final okay to a joint resolution that permits 200 American technicians in the Sinai Desert to monitor the disengagement there. The signing took place at the UN Peace Headquarters in Jerusalem. But as Richard C. Hottelet reports, the job for the UN is just beginning.
In the first phase, the oil field on the Red Sea coast is to be turned over to Egyptian civil administration under UN supervision. Then the Israeli army begins a slow, step-by-step withdrawal eastward behind the Gidi and Mitla passes. This will double the size of the buffer zone held by UNEF, the UN peace force between the Israeli and Egyptian armies. UNEF will need helicopters to cover mountainous, impassable terrain and patrol boats to check the coastal area. This will cost money, bringing the annual budget to well over $100 million, and the Soviet Union has already expressed unhappiness about the rising cost. More politically acceptable and technically competent troops must also be found. The Security Council must settle these issues within the next 2 weeks. UNEF's present mandate expires October 24th. Richard C. Hottelet, CBS News.
The Soviet Union today reacted to the award of the Nobel Peace Prize to dissident Andrei Sakharov, and it was negative. The news agency TASS described Sakharov as an anti-patriot, and it said the award was a political ploy against the Soviet Union. President Ford formally submits his energy program to the Congress today. It's aimed at making this country independent of foreign fuel suppliers by 1985. Ironically, he's making his pitch just as Congress goes off on a 10-day Columbus recess with the natural gas bill hanging fire. More on that from Nelson Benton.
One of the hang-ups is whether it should be simply a temporary rise in natural gas prices to ease expected industrial shortages this winter, or whether the emergency measure should be combined with a long-term plan to allow price rises as a means of encouraging production. Republican and oil state senators want to combine the two. Liberal Democrats are pressing for the emergency legislation as soon as possible.
The outlook right now is bleak. We tried our very best to extract this emergency bill from the long-range solution, knowing the political facts of life. In the House side, they haven't even had hearings. And on that basis, we hope to give the industry notice enough to proceed with their contracts.
Hollings, who sponsored emergency natural gas legislation, says the Senate will take up the bill as soon as it returns from recess. But he says it could be Thanksgiving before Congress agrees on the shape it should take. Nelson Benton, CBS News, Washington.
That's the news. Good day from New York.
From the CBS Newsroom in New York, this has been the CBS Midday News with Douglas Edwards.
And now, See You Today takes a brief nostalgic look and listen at some past programs. Pay attention now at these blasts from the past, which show exactly what kind of stuff See You Today is made of. The first thing that we at See You Today had to take into consideration was how to defend ourselves against irate viewers. Here, one staff member is learning some advanced techniques concerning self-defense against such viewers. But we soon found out that there are better ways to deal with dangerous viewers. We ask you not to rub this in, but you can see for yourself how docile this irate viewer is as the medium becomes the massage. Some have called us animals here at See You Today. Our answer is to flip 'em the bird and call them a bunch of turkeys. We've stuck our necks out for some of the stories we produced, but maybe not quite this far. Is See You Today going to the dogs? Not necessarily, but here's one animal showing us exactly where he thinks our heads are at. Some say See You Today hits the bottle occasionally, and some just think that we have too much wax in our ears. We've combined those two opinions and put our wax in the bottle with a series on candle making. It appears that these two candle-making experts have taken a sip out of that bottle. They will have a special place in See You Today's Wax Museum of Videotape. See You Today relies upon a lot of different things for a successful show. Besides a little talent, fine electronic expertise from our engineers, and much luck, See You Today sometimes relies on the magic of the wizard to keep the show looking, real. Says that the really big performers don't play See You Today. Mr. Stinkletter, world-renowned writer, fighter, yelling show host, necrophiliac, and self-proclaimed wit, flew in to do a special segment for our show. Here you can see the fantastic human appeal that this man has. You never know who's going to pop into the set at See You Today. It may get a bit hairy at times, but there is never a dull moment when Captain Wallaby finally packs it in and gets the hell out of the studio. And who says that See You Today hasn't got a touch of class? Just look at the winners we've picked and look at the sophisticated talent we have for your entertainment. On what network can you be exposed to this kind of classy programming? And for people who think that See You Today has the crabs, you've got another thing coming, Buster. Buster Crabbe is one of the many great celebrities who have come to our studios to talk about their lives and to give their learned views on the changing world. And when necessary, we bring our cameras on location to interview such people as David Susskind. Speaking Speaking of on location, every spring semester, CU Today schleps its cameras, television sets, and tape recorders to the Glenn Miller Ballroom for the University of Colorado's annual Trivia Bowl. And for the first time this semester, CU Today brings its cameras to CU football games and provides a football highlight show every Monday, as well as a complete game tape to the Good Earth in Boulder for playback every Wednesday at 5:30. CU Today certainly has not neglected the performing arts. Looking Glass Theater provides CU Today with many great skits for your entertainment. Simon and Garfunkel 10 years ago? Close, it's Peter and David providing many, many hours of listening pleasure and doing it with only one song. And there's Freddie, Henchy, and the Soul Setters rocking on with CU Today. CU Today wishes to thank the Colorado Daily, in which you will find a complete program listing of what's on CU Today every day in the What's Happening in Boulder column. Thank you, Colorado Daily. This is Dan Niemeyer. Dan is coordinator of educational TV here at the University of Colorado. He earned his BA at the University of Illinois and his master's at Temple University. Dan, tell us how CU Today got its start.
Well, several things happened all about at the same time. The Educational Media Center wanted to do some kind of programming for students on campus. The Communications Department needed some kind of projects for advanced communications radio television students to do, and so we came up about 2 years ago with the idea for a CU Today kind of program, a magazine format that would allow students in communications to practice their skills and all, doing segments of the program, and the Media Center got its chance to distribute programming to students all over campus.
And how many people are involved with the production of CU Today?
This semester, there are probably about, depending on exactly who you'd all count, there may be 400 to 500 students receiving credit for some kind of work with CU Today. Maybe about 100 communication students involved with CU Today. Maybe 25 or so journalism students and a couple hundred students in the business school involved with the sales and production of commercials on CU Today.
Thank you. Dan Niemeyer, coordinator of educational TV at the University of Colorado. We'll have a Program Council special report, our regular football pregame show, and much, much more on this, our 200th show. But first, a feature on the history of rugby.
Rugby. It has always enjoyed great popularity in Great Britain, New Zealand, France, and South Africa, but the game of rugby has caught on and is spreading like wildfire here in the United States. The consensus of historians is that the game, played in the early 19th century by some English schools and universities, was an all-kicking game resembling modern soccer. This would seem to be confirmed by the traditional account of an event which took place at Rugby School in 1823. The story was preserved in the school campus, where much later a plaque was set on the wall bearing the following legend. This stone commemorates the exploit of William Webb Ellis, who, with a fine disregard for the rules of football as played in his time, first took the ball into his arms and ran with it, thus originating the distinctive feature of the rugby game. This event took place in 1823, and within 20 years, rugby had acquired wide recognition throughout England. Introduced in the United States about 1875, rugby was the precursor to American football. A game or match, as it is usually called, consists of two 40-minute halves. 15 players participate on each team at the start of the game. There are 8 forwards and 7 backs. The forwards are the equivalent to the linemen in American football. Substitutions are not permitted, and if a player leaves the match because of a disability or for rule infraction, His team must continue without full complement of players. Although kicking and dribbling with the feet are essential aspects of the game, the most characteristic feature is the handling of a ball with continuous swinging from end to end of the field. Scoring in rugby may be by grounding the ball in the opponent's in-goal area, the equivalent of a touchdown in football, or by place kicking, making a free kick, or by drop kicking the ball for a goal during the play. Rugby in general is a more open game than football, with play fluctuating all over the field and action less often disturbed. Like football, rugby calls for much skill, speed, ruggedness, and stamina, and it is this energy and enthusiasm that make rugby a great game to play and a great game to watch.
See you today. Happy birthday to you.
It's my distinct pleasure to thank you so much for the 200 programs that you have given to the students here at the University of Colorado. I wish you another 7,000 more.
Just say a few words on our birthday here.
Happy birthday, see you today.
Okay, go.
Happy birthday.
It's a good year for bicentennials. Happy birthday for 200 CU Todays.
Hello, Dan Niemeyer.
Happy birthday, see you today.
Well, I can't think of anything facetious under pressure in front of the camera. If this were just any other time I saw you in the office, I could think of plenty of facetious things to say.
Well, take it. All right, go ahead.
But happy birthday, see you today.
Kind of. Cliff, would you like to say happy birthday to see you today?
No.
Thank you. Sean?
No.
Thank you. Would you like to say happy birthday to see you today?
Say happy birthday to see you today?
Yes.
No.
Thank you. To see you today.
Where's the belly dancer?
I don't know how to do that.
Sure congratulate you on getting through 200 of those programs.
Okay, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have 200 shows. Hello, Dan Niemeyer. Happy birthday to see you today.
Hello, Bud Leonard, and I'm embarrassed to say happy birthday to see you today.
Hey, now you're a professional.
Tom and I could sing to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear, see you today. Happy birthday to you.
All right, cut.
Kill the audio.
Cut. Kill it.
Well, I think that's all very interesting.
Coming up on See You Today, old reliable Phil LaBelle from Program Council and his special report. But first... This is Bud Leonard. Bud earned his BA at the University of Colorado here in Boulder, and he's now working as producer and director for University of Colorado Television. Bud, last semester we started taking paid advertisements on See You Today. Where does the money go for these advertisements, and how much do we charge?
Well, Norm, the money for the advertisements goes to paying for expendable equipment like, film, graphics, things like that, things that we really have no budget for. And the rates are, for a 30-second announcement is $15, and you can do a 3-minute special with some company, say like Chrisman Speaker or something would sponsor a speaker show, which we have coming up. And that's about $30 for that segment.
Mm-hmm. And the programming material on See You Today, what is See You Today's primary source for that?
Mostly it's the class itself, Com 469. They provide all the material. We don't really tell them what to do or even how to go about doing it. It's all up to the students.
Well, thank you very much.
Hi, this is Phil LaBelle for Program Council. Movies this weekend are first. An Academy Award winner on a documentary film on the Vietnam War. That's Hearts and Minds. In the Forum Room, one of the best softcore erotic films ever made, Emmanuelle. And in Cinema 2, a Fellini movie for people who have never seen Fellini. It's Fellini's Roma. And next weekend is homecoming, and football isn't the only thing happening on campus. On Friday and Saturday nights, Program Council will be presenting Shawn Phillips in concert in Mackey. And now a short clip of Shawn Phillips.
But she does not know the price she has to pay. Could be a lover in the life she leads throughout the day. When they both could live together, they both could live in peace. They both could be in love together and make the world at ease. Floating through a sea of trouble that the world around them makes. And it really doesn't matter when you know.
That was Shawn Phillips in concert, and he will be appearing in Mackey Auditorium next Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Prices are $4.50 and $5 for students, $5 and $5.50 for non-students. Don't miss this homecoming concert. And this week, in a fascinating puppet performance, the Norwood Puppet Theater in Duane G030, Friday and Saturday at 5:30 and 8:30, Sunday at 5:30 with a puppet workshop to follow. This has been Phil Obel for Program Council, wishing you a good weekend, wishing CUTV a happy 200th birthday, and I'll see you next week.
Be sure to watch Monday's See You Today when we present highlights of this weekend's football game in Miami. Coming up next on See You Today, our Friday football pregame show.
Hi, this is Rich Gottesman of See You Today with 3 of the CU trainers. Could you give your name and your class standings, please?
Paul Andreessen, I'm a senior.
Kirk Kreidner, and I'm a senior.
Doug Nelson, I'm a junior.
Why don't you guys just each answer the question. How did you get into training? Paul, you want to take it?
Okay, I was a trainer for 2 years in high school and handled football, basketball, and track. And after getting letters of recommendation, taking a couple of classes, I was accepted into the program up here.
How about you? I got interested through the Kramer Student Trainer Program, and I wanted to pursue athletics in college, but not as a participant, but as a right on the sidelines with them. So, excuse me. So I just applied the same up here and ended up here. Worked out real good.
How about you?
I worked as a trainer in high school during the winter for basketball. As a participant in football through high school, but I wanted to remain active during the off season, so training is a logical place to go. And I worked for the junior college tournament back home in Hutchinson with the Kramer Company, and they recommended me to a scholarship program.
How much time does it take a week?
Somewhere between 25 to 35 hours, depending on the schedule, whether it's a home game or not. Usually the seniors have more time because they're caught up in traveling.
What do you plan to do when you graduate with your training?
I plan to go into athletic training as a career, as a profession. That'll either be with professional football or any of the professional teams.
Paul, I understand that of all the 6 student trainers, you're the only one who might not want to pursue this when you graduate?
Yes, this year I'm applying to medical school, and I've had 1 interview so far. And I'd like to go next year, but if I don't, I'll probably come back again next year to get my National Athletic Trainers Association certification and graduate with a degree in chemistry.
This is a loaded question probably, but let's say you do get your training certificate. Any preference to schools?
Not really. Nowadays, it's just any place you can get a job.
Okay. Would you mind explaining the scholarship, how the scholarship works?
Well, the scholarship is a progressive one. It starts off when you're a freshman, you get your food paid for, and when you become a sophomore, you get your food and books. In your junior year, you get your food, books, and fees. In your senior year, when you have most of your responsibilities, you're on a full-ride scholarship. You get everything that players get except the $15 a month.
Okay, thanks a lot. I sure appreciate it. This has been Rich Gottesman for See You Today.
This is Harold Hill, professor and head of radio, television, and film in the Department of Communication. Harold has earned his BS and his master's at the University of Illinois. Harold, why See You Today?
2 reasons, basically, Norm. One was that we wanted to establish a pilot program of the kinds of material we could provide a Boulder community cable system, if and when we ever get one. Secondly, it gives our students in radio and television at the university a better chance to do the kinds of things that they will have to do when they get out to a station.
And what's in store for the future?
I think we'll begin to do more things. I'm sure we'll begin to do more things with athletics. Eddie Crowder and I and Peter Lasser had a talk this morning, and we're looking for more things in that area. I think with the increase in popularity of the program, we'll probably be able to sell more time, which will give us more money to do more things, and I'm hopeful that we can do some innovative things that we haven't been able to do in the past.
If you missed any part of See You Today or would like to see it again, See You Today is replayed every half hour throughout the school day. Next on See You Today are Man on the Street.
Ehor Figlis here for Man on the Street. I'm talking to some students who watch See You Today, and I'm trying to get some responses from them. What's your name?
Dan Donnelly.
Okay, Dan, what do you think of that program?
I don't get to see it too often. Usually I catch Douglas Edwards or the news. The skits are nice, the little skits they do once in a while, but I don't see much of it.
Is that because you're usually on your way to classes or what?
Yeah, I'm usually passing through.
You think it's a good idea to have the monitors in the halls like they are set up?
Yeah, sometimes they're not loud enough to be able to hear though, so all you see is pictures.
Okay, thanks. What's your name?
David McDonald.
Okay, David, what do you think about it?
The TV show? It's all right. They could do a lot more with it, though. They're not doing as much as they could with it.
What do you think could be improved?
Well, they could have some shows about various things going on around campus, and various courses are unique little things that aren't publicized too much. They don't have too much of that around on these TV shows.
Okay, thanks a lot. What's your name?
Bob.
Bob? Do you watch it very often?
Usually when I'm just walking by. It's pretty good because it's informative. If you don't get to read the newspaper or something, you can walk by and catch something, or if you're just sitting in the grill sometimes, it's kind of nice, it doesn't hurt, at least.
What about some of the features on there?
I haven't really seen too many. I really can't say about those, but as a whole, it's pretty good.
Well, you've seen and heard it all, the past and present accomplishments, and the future prospects of See You Today. We hope you've enjoyed our 200th See You Today, and we hope you'll continue to watch our program in the future. This has been Norm Strassner. Thank you for watching, and see you today.
It's Thursday, November 6, 1975, and this is See You Today, a television magazine for students at the University of Colorado. On See You Today, Joel Davis reports, a movie review, a special on NBC's bicentennial feature, Douglas Edwards, and now local news with Kevin Longstreth.
The story about the mud shark.
If you're up at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, you might want to watch NBC's Today Show on Channel 4. Each week, the program features a state for the bicentennial celebration, and tomorrow, Colorado will be featured. The crew for today was out of New York, was on campus yesterday filming good old CU. So if you want to see CU's great halls and maybe yourself on national television for a full 2-hour feature, start watching today's show tomorrow morning. By the way, CU Today will have a special feature on that filming procedure later on in today's program. Vice President Rockefeller in a news conference this morning told reporters he chose not to become President Ford's running mate in 1976 because he did not want to get in the middle of the political scramble that he predicts. Colorado's Democratic Senator Floyd Haskell said Wednesday he will try to block passage of a $6 billion federally guaranteed loan program for oil shale and coal gas development unless it is changed to protect Colorado's environment. Haskell noted that his efforts are backed by the National Governors Conference for the Synthetic Fuels Committee and is particularly backed by Colorado Governor Lamb. Brewery workers at Local 366 Wednesday became the first union in Colorado to offer a new legal insurance program to its members. Costing about $30 per year per family, the service will provide legal help for union members not affluent enough to hire their own attorneys, but yet not poor enough to qualify for the government's paid legal aid program. And in sports, the Colorado Buffaloes are rated as a 1-4 point favorites in winning the battle against Oklahoma State Cowboys Saturday afternoon at Folsom Stadium. The 14th-ranked Buffs will be without the services of offensive lineman Mark Concord and defensive secondary ace Tom Tassone. Concord will miss the OSU game because of a broken bone in his wrist, which he incurred at Iowa State last week, and Tom Tassone received a knee injury at Nebraska 2 weeks ago. The Denver Nuggets of the ABA defeated the Spirits of St. Louis 111-98 at McNichols Sports Arena last night. Dan Essel led the Nuggets with 33 points. Ralph Simpson had 25, and ex-Buff Cager Chuck Williams scored 12 points for the Nuggets. Barnes led the Spirits attack with 30 points. The Nuggets traveled to Utah tonight to meet the Stars and return home Saturday to meet the New York Nets. That's local news for November 6, 1975. I'm Kevin Longstreth. CBS The Midday News is next on CU Today.
This is the CBS Midday News with Morton Dean substituting for Douglas Edwards.
Good day. Here's the news. For more than a dozen years, people have asked, what makes Rocky run? Now the question has become, what made Rocky decide not to run? A news conference in Washington this morning. Nelson Rockefeller answering that question, why he decided not to run for vice president next year.
Let me say that I came down to Washington, the nomination of the president, to serve the country I love and to help in solving the problems which we face and which I'm optimistic can be solved. But I didn't come down to get caught up in party squabbles, which only make it more difficult for the president in a very difficult time when the problems of the country require his fullest possible attention. And therefore, with his complete understanding and concurrence, I wrote him the letter.
Sir, could you tell us how you feel your withdrawal will diminish the party squabbles that you talked about in your opening remarks?
Because I was the basis of a lot of the squabble. So if I'm not involved, then there's nothing to squabble about.
You keep talking about party squabbling, but it seems hard to believe that you would be so concerned when your political past shows that when you ran for president several times, you were in the middle of party squabbling.
But you're assuming something that you know is not correct. I am not a candidate for the vice presidency. I've said so to you for 9 months.
Right.
And I am not going to be, and now I've pulled myself out so there can be no question, so that the issue is over.
About President Ford's bid for re-election, Mr. Rockefeller said, I think he will be nominated and he's my candidate, but the vice president did not rule out the possibility of becoming a candidate himself if Mr. Ford were to falter in the early primaries.
East is east and west is west, and the wrong one I have chose. Let's go where I'll keep on wearing those frills and flowers and buttons and bows, rings and things and buttons and bows. Don't bury me in this prairie, take me where the cement grows. Let's move down to some big town where they love a gal by the cut of her clothes, and I'll stand out in buttons and bows. I'll love you in buckskin and skirts that I've homespun, but I'll love you longer, stronger, where your friends don't tote a gun. My bones denounce the buckboard bounce and the cactus hurts my toes. Let's vamoose where gals keep using those silks and satins and linens that shows, and I'm all yours in buttons and...
The wholesale price index out this morning showing a big jump last month. Bernard Shaw has the figures in Washington.
The Labor Department says the wholesale price index rose 1.8% last month. That's the biggest monthly increase in a year, and it means consumers will soon feel the impact at the retail level. The Industrial Commodities Index was up 1.2%. Higher price tags on passenger cars, lumber, and textile products, as well as steel, accounted for the increase. Farm products were up 2.2%. There were sharp rises for live poultry, tobacco, and milk. Fresh and dried vegetables declined, as did fresh fruits and grains. Higher prices were recorded for gasoline, home heating oil, beverages, and clothing. Bernard Shaw, CBS News, Washington.
A huge march today by Moroccan civilians into the Spanish Sahara, King Hassan's March of Conquest. Tens of thousands crossing the frontier armed only with the Koran, the Muslim holy book, going 6 miles into the Sahara by Moroccan report. And that's the news. Have a good day.
From the CBS Newsroom in New York, this has been the CBS Midday News with Morton Dean substituting for Douglas Edwards.
Next on See You Today, a feature on NBC's bicentennial program.
Yesterday, NBC's Today program came to the University of Colorado campus. Shooting from the UMC tower roof, Denver KOA camera crew aided the NBC production team in taping a bicentennial segment on Colorado. The Today Show anchorman, Jim Hartz, describes what will be on tomorrow's program.
Say to people when they say being in television is exciting, I say, no, it's about like watching somebody can peaches. It just goes on, and you do take after take until we get it right. You know, we do the broadcast live Monday through Thursday in New York, and you have 2 hours to do it, and of course it's people we're used to working with and so on. But when we're on the road, we like to get it right, and so I assume we'll be here all day long. What we're going to do is in 2 of our segments hear from the Jazz Ensemble, an excellent big band here at the University of Colorado. We're also going to bring Governor Lamb in and discuss with him mainly this issue of the oil shale development in the western part of the state. We've, a couple of weeks ago, made a film report from over there, which will be shown from New York. Also from New York, we will have some songs from Judy Collins. Have a lot of entertainment in this broadcast from Colorado natives and Colorado University players. We've also are going to chat with Mrs. Gladys Bueller, who has a book out about colorful Colorado characters. And also, we commissioned, NBC News commissioned a poll taken with a couple of 300 students here on the university campus to see what university kids are into these days and what they think about issues and what they think about politicians. And
in between the tapings, Mark Allen was able to gain an interview with Colorado's Governor Dick Lamb.
Governor Lamb, could you tell us what the state is planning for the bicentennial celebration?
Mark, the state as itself is really putting a major emphasis on what the local communities want to do. So actually it's furnishing that infrastructure to try to develop at a local level a variation of things, whether it's rebuilding Bent's Fort in one place or whether or not it's a new city hall or actually presenting a program climbing all of the 53 peaks. And what we're really trying to do is let other groups, whether the Colorado Mountain Club or geographic locations, all make up their mind as what they'd like to do and then be of support to them. I feel that this country needs a time to sort of re-examine its roots. I think the centennial, bicentennial could be a very creative time, and I would like to be supportive of it because I believe that I generally believe in the concept.
The university has suffered some major budget cuts in the recent past. Could you give us an idea of what the reasoning behind this is?
Sure. What happened is that the drop in the revenues, the whole national economic situation, which entailed a very great drop in revenues, hit Colorado about 6 months later, about from the time that the legislature went home. And it became unpleasant but necessary to really cut $21 to $25 million from the budget. Negotiating with the Joint Budget Committee, we cut it about $23 million from the budget. And this applied to CU, it applied to a number of places. We tried to cut selectively as possible, taking those programs that had the lowest priority. And then, however, that was still not enough, and we had to make some across-the-board cuts, and those are the ones that CU got mostly hit with.
The Today Show, Bicentennial Salute to Colorado, will be presented tomorrow on KOA Channel 4 from 7 to 9 a.m. The Today Show will be co-hosted by Colorado's own Judy Collins.
Joel Davis and the movie review with John Anderson coming up after this word from our sponsors.
You think no one notices? Well, they do. Why let a pair of yesterday's shoes spoil an otherwise together outfit? Smith's Shoe Company in downtown Boulder can put those finishing touches right where they belong, on your feet. For your dress needs, shoes and boots from Nunn Bush, Wright, and Stacy Adams. Just the touch to make you really look your best. Nature Soul shoes from Pedwin are featured in Smith's line of casual footwear with shoes from Weinberg, Hush Puppies, and Bass. Smith's also carries the finest name in athletic footwear, Osaga. That's Smith's Shoe Company, 1223 Pearl in downtown Boulder.
Hearts and Minds comes to the council again. An executive veto and a freeze on administrative travel. This is Joel S. Davis speaking for the University of Colorado Student Union, the UCSU. Tonight, the UCSU Executive Council will consider the problem of an ad hoc group demanding that some $1,300 in receipts from a showing of Hearts and Minds be sent to an aid agency in Vietnam. Last week, the issue was tabled, though the council seemed to favor the ad hoc group. There is a real question over whether the council has the power to force the fund transfer. In addition, there was no formal counterargument against the program by the program council. Tonight, it seems clear that the only council power is indirect, since program council receipts are not part of student fees. The council, however, could deny student fee damage backing to program council events or could cashier the program council chairman, Wayne Smith. In view of a possible walkout by the program council staff, the question may be entirely academic if the council decides in favor of the ad hoc group. The future of concerts this year thus remains in serious doubt. In other action, UCSU co-presidents Linda Christopher and David Zale have vetoed a resolution by the UCSU Executive Council demanding suspension of CU Athletic Director Eddie Crowder and football coach Bill Mallory. The resolution grows out of a civil suit against Mallory and Crowder, charging that they arranged for stand-ins to do homework and take exams for a CU player. And finally, several weeks ago, the UCSU Finance Board voted to freeze administrative travel in all student fee areas. While the Recreation and UMC boards submitted quietly to the measure, the Student Health Board has attacked the measure, first on the grounds that it violates their constitutional power to allocate funds, and second that the finance director informally exempted UCSU co-presidents from the travel ban. I'll be back next week with more news. Until then, this is Joel Davis. Have a nice day.
Charlotte is Roger Vadim's new film about murder and the pursuit of happiness among the Continental Smart Set. Vadim, who also wrote and directed the film, plays a writer trying to piece together the life and death of Charlotte, a young woman who had been murdered some months before. His search leads him among such characters as Charlotte's homosexual husband, her maniacal lover, and a representative sampling of the European jet set. The story unfolds in a series of flashback scenes that do much to earn the film its X rating. Charlotte is, or was, a pleasure-seeking individual, to say the least. She is unpredictable as she is unfaithful. For her, death was the ultimate act of love. As with most films, one can find many good things and bad things to say about Charlotte. Performances are fine, especially by Sirpa Lane in the title role, and Vadim, but the acting often seems stilted when paired with the English dubbed dialogue. Then, too, neither the murder mystery nor the character of Charlotte is gone into deeply enough to really capture the viewer. The film often feels as shallow as its stylish characters, who seem to take everything for granted. The film is beautifully photographed, but the overall effect is that of a superficial Playboy-type gloss. Like the film, it can be summed up as elegant but pointless. Charlotte is now playing at the Art Cinema on Pearl Street. This has been John Anderson for CU Today.
So I'll go. I would hate my disappointment to show. There's nothing for me here, so I will disappear. If she turns up while I'm gone, please let me know. I've had a drink or two and I don't care. There's no fun in